r/ask Reddit. What did a crush do that made you instantly lose interest in him/her? She asked me if I wanted to go to a concert with her. Then she wanted me to pay for both tickets that I knew she got for free. Promptly laughed at her and told her she can duck off with some other idiot. It's funny how fast the ugliness on the inside can overcome anything good on the outside. She did me a favor that day. If you invite someone and tell them to pay not only their part but yours too, there's something wrong. We were out drinking. He got drunk and started fighting a guy that he thought had been harassing me. The guy said he didn't harass me. I said he didn't harass me. My crush still tried to defend me. Never lost interest faster. I worked up the courage to ask this girl to go on a date. She said yes. On the date, she proceeded to spend the whole time gossiping about anyone and everyone she could talk bad about. I still remember the moment it clicked that she was just super shallow and mean. It's a bit different, but I had a moment when I was younger, maybe 15 or so, when I realized that my mum was like this. Anytime she could talk shit about someone, she would, and no one would be safe. It would be especially bad at family dinners, almost like her only topic of conversation was talking bad about someone. This was when I realized that I'd probably be reducing contact with her once I'd moved out. He tossed an empty drink bottle onto a random lawn as we walked down the street. I went on a date with a guy and he stuck his gum under the table at a bar. WTF. We were in our early 20s and out of college, working at adult jobs, and this mother ducker couldn't even grab a napkin? Who does that? Here's a light-hearted one. I developed my first crush when I was in 2nd or 3rd grade. This was right around the time when Pokemon were first becoming really popular, so naturally I was obsessed with them. I had the cards, the Game Boy games, etc. One day I overheard the girl I had a crush on talking to her friends at recess about how weird Pokemon were, and thus in a flash a young love was extinguished. Fast forward about 22 years and my wife also doesn't like Pokemon, because life is strange. She was going to a party and I said, "You seem pretty unenthusiastic about going." She replied with, "Don't use big words." Unenthusiastic. 14 letters. She was right, man. That's not a small word. Threw rocks at a cat because she thought it was funny. That's no way to show appreciation to a funny cat. This guy that I'd been talking to for a while on Tinder, who I thought was cool cute, but he never seemed down to meet up. One time he randomly messaged me to say he'd gone over to someone's place and they'd had sex 3 times. I think he was trying to make me jealous, but it just made me feel a bit gross. I've never understood this. If you're trying to make someone jealous, which let's face it you shouldn't be doing anyway, go with something simple like someone was flirting hard with me and I kind of enjoyed it. Basically saying, "Hey, I'm into you but met this chick guy and we banged," would just make me think, okay, so they aren't that into me then, and gross. You can have them then, I'm ducking out. Told me she has a crush on my brother. I'm sorry, Luigi, it just wasn't meant to be. Your princess is in another castle. Your tower belongs in another princess. My brother and I look exactly the same. It's difficult even for our parents to tell us apart. One day this girl came up to me after seeing my bro and said he's cute. I mentioned we look the same. She said I'm ugly. We were 5. Had planned to marry when we got older with a pancake cake and everything. I was invited to his birthday party and he and his friend was climbing a tree with him being higher up. Suddenly he pees down on his friend. We never got married. A pancake wedding cake. Brilliant. I wish I had read this before I got married. Not my crush, but someone who had a crush on me, or so I was told. She asked for my birthday, and I told her. She then calculated that I was younger than her by a week or so and straight up said to me I did have a crush on a guy, but then I found out he was younger than me, so now there's not crush. Damn, dude. It was a teenage crush. He had multiple girlfriends who didn't know about each other. Disloyalty is not cool. Found out she was a cousin. We were in class together and it was all a pure coincidence. Neither of us had any idea until a family member casually mentioned to me, "Doesn't her name go to your school?" Well, crap. I grew up in a small town and one of my friends was related to everybody. In middle school he told his mother about the new girl he was seeing and she had to break the news to him that he was dating his second cousin. I had a crush on a guy in 5th grade. He found out about my crush and made a really hateful nickname for me and teased me about my body. Got all of his friends to tease me too. Realizing he was a garbage person set me straight pretty quickly. This is a serious response. He threatened to kill me and himself if I broke up with him. We were alone in the house and he was having some sort of episode where he spaced out, became robotic, and dissociated. This made him act very slow and lethargic. He had mental issues. I grabbed my stuff and ran. Never saw him again, but I know he was hospitalized. I'm married now and he hasn't contacted me since. I actually hope he's doing better. Crush on a girl my junior year of college. She liked to heavily make fun of people, and I mean hard. Like to the point I would say hi to someone I knew. After we walked off she would have some remark. She went from attractive to not wanting to be around her really quickly. I had a crush on the girl who lived across the street from me, who I had already been friends with for years. Once we were teenagers she learned a new skill. How to cut real deep with words. Like slicing your calf muscle with words. Holy shit, this girl could make your depression go into overdrive with a single sentence. And she got a lot of practice. You forget to ask her how her favorite show was the day after a new episode aired, and she'd go over every sensitive subject you have. When she told me the day of my grandfather's funeral that my grandfather only died to get away from me, that's when I finally told her to go duck herself. And that's when I learned that she can dish it but can't take it. He drove like an idiot while I was in the car. I literally thought he was going to kill us. And he was road raging the whole time. This was on the highway too. I asked him to stop driving like that and he didn't. Never going out with him again. Tortured a housefly and gave an oral book report trashing my favorite book at the time for being boring and having too many words. Then started bragging he could have any girl in the school he wanted. Shortest crush of my life. Didn't defend me when his friends tried to assault me, just laughed with them. This is the long version of the story. I have never been popular, was always bullied and stuff. One of the things people told me was that I was a prude, because I never had a boyfriend at that point. Apparently, some of my classmates got inspired by that and started a bet. Whoever could do me in, a slang word in my language that can mean anything from making out to sex, would win. Every contestant put in a certain amount of money. At the height of the contest it was about 100 euros. That would be their prize. All of a sudden, I was invited to popular parties. People tried to make me drink. Random people started talking to me, flirting, groping. More and more people became aware of the bet, so even people I'd never talked to or who were complete strangers to me started to hit me up. It was weird. I was still in the dark about the bet and I didn't get why some guys, sometimes even girls, wanted to hang out with me or wanted to see me drink. Luckily for me I don't drink, but it was all very uncomfortable. My crush and I went on a school trip together with the rest of our year, and all of a sudden things get out of hand. People groping me, now the supervision of the teachers is half gone. People trying to ask me if I ever kissed someone. The most scary experience was when a couple of guys cornered me in the park and told me, very detailed, how they wanted to have sex with me. Some of them were my classmates. Some of them were friends of my crush. One of them was my crush. You can imagine how scared I was as a 15-year-old. No adults in sight. Only me and these 16-year-olds. I was hoping my crush would defend me. He was a nice guy. Never laid a hand on anybody. Always friendly. But he just laughed. They were telling me how they would rape me and he laughed. It took 2 more months before another girl had the courage to tell me what was going on. She used the word doing. And I was too flustered to ask if she meant the light version or all the way. When I told the teachers about the bet, about all the people who were involved, about how no one told me anything about it, not even the girls, they told me I had no proof, was imagining things again and that boys will be boys with hormones. What can we do about that? It all stopped when I got a boyfriend that very summer, who was 5 years older than me and would later turn out to be an abuser. He looked like he was 30 though, so I guess most of the guys got too scared to lay a hand on me. But yeah, that's how my crush lost my interest. Used a baby voice when speaking to me. Or who's a good little girl, huh? Is it you? I bet it is. Here, a car and I. Yay. I will snap your neck like a twig. Dude, she knocked over my Lego Death Star. She had to go. The ultimate sin. She started posting videos of her making out with drunk old men to her Snap. We're both in college. Bully me to depression. You all right there? It was years ago, so I'm better now, but it did leave me super jaded and prone to mistrust. You shouldn't play Dungeons and Dragons. You know, when you cast the spells in the game, you're actually casting them in your spirit, and that lets the devil get into you. I was like, wait, and I'm supposed to be the one who can't tell reality from fiction? Long distance, only online crush boyfriend. We were playing a modified TTRPG in the early 2010s and we made the horrible mistake of playing versions of ourselves. Same names, ages, etc. Lots of shit happened. But the thing that really made me feel like shit was when I felt like a third wheel with him and his best bro. We were playing in a survival setting, so we would delegate chores to make sure we had supplies, fuel, ammo, etc. By the end of each day, every time my BF would choose to go with his guy friend for things, I didn't mind the first couple of times. But I did kinda want a day where the two of us hung out, since, again, this was a LD relationship never happened. The one time I forced the issue and said I was coming along to hunt or something, they just ignored me and did their usual thing. Joke's on me, though. Turns out BF was deep in the closet and hanging out with his guy friend, and game was him living out his fantasy of having a boyfriend. We are 8 or so and he asked for a pen, so I gave him mine. He chewed on it. Instant turn off. Alcohol and cigarettes. We were 13 back then. Rejected me. Don't keep trying when you know it's pointless, guys. Honestly, best response advice. If I could go back in time and give my former self life advice, it would be this. Take your shot. If it doesn't happen, move on. She saw an Oreo in the cleaner's dustpan, picked it up, and ate it. That's called being resourceful. Sounds like a keeper to me. Not me, but my wife before we met. There was an event in Salt Lake City and she was from northern Washington. She had a crush on this guy and decided to join carpooling with him and a couple other people. They stopped to grab some fast food and went back on their way. Well, as soon as he finished eating drinking, he tossed the whole bag out the window while driving. After that, she barely talked to him, and once they got to SLC she left him and joined some other friends and went back home with them instead. A long road trip is one of those things that should be mandatory before marrying someone. Some guy I went out with kept trying to convince me to sleep with him even after repeatedly telling him no. Some people just can't take no for an answer. Hey, we still good for tomorrow? Sorry, my boyfriend wants to come over. Great way to find out she both forgot about our plans and had a BF. I had been seeing this girl for 2 months in college and things were going alright. I was helping her move when she decided it was the moment to have a serious talk. She sat me down and in a very serious tone told me she had been doing some digging. She confronted me with the fact that I had dated black women. I kind of thought it was a joke at first. I guess my brain couldn't comprehend that this was still a thing. No, she was dead serious and explained to me that while she had nothing against black people, she didn't believe in mixing races. I was dumbfounded. I got up and walked out. A mix between sudden and extreme explosive road rage and a misogynistic rant that came out of nowhere. He's an ex now, but he's gotten worse. Showed his true colors obviously. Moved to a different school. Got someone pregnant. Accused me of cheating because I had female friends. Had a crush on this girl who was dating someone at the time. I was hanging out with her and she kept checking her phone. Later she announced she was upset because her so hadn't texted her first that day. So they hadn't texted at all. She was building resentment over literally nothing. Useful insight into what a relationship with her might have looked like. Smoking. My folks both smoked and died from lung cancer. Saw it coming as a kid. Complete turn off and buzzkill. She asked me to prom. I said yeah. 2 days before prom, I actually don't want to go with you, but I already bought both of our tickets. As the guy, I expect you to pay me back for them. I tried to explain that's not how transactions work. She kept telling me it was my responsibility. I asked if she was smoking crack. Never heard from her again. They poked fun at my mom. Going to a primarily white school. Him and a group of his guy friends always made fun of how she dressed and how short she was. I didn't super know him, but he was a part of the group that did, and that's all I needed to know. My mom is this sweet, short Asian woman who loves to smile, and yes, she sometimes wears goofy clothing, but no one makes fun of my mama, no one. I have a boyfriend. Told me how her cat was sick so she snapped its neck to put it out of its misery. Told me that while he thought I wasn't dumb, that I couldn't be smarter than him because I was female and a few months younger. Our test scores, entrance exams and work history later determined that that was a lie. Went on a date with a guy to a Chinese restaurant, and as we were leaving he threw trash on the ground when there was a trash can a few feet away. Then we went to his house to watch a movie and he picked his cat up by the scruff of its neck and threw it. Not a set it down to get it off the counter kinda thing, but a legit throw across the room. I left right then and there and told him why. He called me a beach and a tease. For whatever reason. Never gave him the impression I was going to sleep with him that night, and was yelling at me as I was backing my car out of his drive. I got to the end of his road and blocked his number. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.